Good morning. This is our second class on Unit 4 Magnetic Properties of Solids. I think you might have learned about different types of magnetism in your degree classes. So, just let us recall about some facts about ferromagnetism. Okay, so our first topic is ferromagnetic order and Curie point. Okay, just we will read these sentences. Like paramagnetism, ferromagnetism is also associated with the presence of permanent magnetic dipoles, but unlike paramagnetism, the magnetic moments of adjacent atoms in this case are aligned in a particular direction even in the absence of applied magnetic field. Thus, a ferromagnetic material exhibits a magnetic moment in the absence of magnetic field. The magnetization existing in a ferromagnetic material in the absence of an applied magnetic field is called spontaneous magnetization. It exists below a certain critical temperature called Curie point or Curie temperature denoted as Tc. Okay, so the meaning is that in the case of a paramagnetic material, in the absence of magnetic field, the magnetic moments in it will be in random orientation and there will not be any magnetization. But what happens when you apply a magnetic field, then those magnetic moments will get aligned in the direction of the applied magnetic field and the material will get magnetized. That is in the case of a paramagnetic material. But in the case of a ferromagnetic material, even in the absence of an external magnetic field, all the magnetic moments in it will be aligned in a particular direction. That is, it is having a magnetization even in the absence of an external magnetic field, and that is termed as spontaneous magnetization. So, ferromagnetic material exhibits spontaneous magnetization, which means magnetization in the absence of external magnetic field. Now, this spontaneous magnetization exists only below a certain critical temperature called Curie temperature or Curie point Tc. Okay, that is the meaning of that paragraph. Now, alignment of magnetic moments below Curie point is due to exchange interaction between magnetic ions. Okay, so the reason for this spontaneous magnetization or magnetization in the absence of external magnetic field is the exchange interaction between magnetic ions. Okay, and that occurs only below Curie temperature. Now, above Curie temperature, what happens? Thermal effects will dominate spin alignment and the ferromagnetic material will change back to paramagnetic material. Okay. Now, some characteristics of ferromagnetic substance. They acquire large magnetization in the presence of even a weak external magnetic field. They possess large and positive value of susceptibility, but it is not a constant. Instead, it varies with the field strength. Now, the variation of magnetization with the field strength, that is, magnetization means capital letter M, and field strength means H. It exhibits well-known hysteresis curve, that is BH curve. Okay. Now, some examples of ferromagnetic metals are given: iron, nickel, cobalt, and so on, and some alloys also, chromium oxide, etc. Now, let us discuss about Weiss theory of ferromagnetism. It is proposed by a scientist named Weiss, and hence the name Weiss theory of ferromagnetism. And as per the theory, it is said that a specimen of ferromagnetic material contains a number of small regions called domains, and these domains are spontaneously magnetized. That is, they exhibit spontaneous magnetization, which we have already said. That is, a specimen of ferromagnetic material contain a large number of small regions. Those regions are called domains, and these domains exhibit spontaneous magnetization. That is, they are the magnetic moments in it are aligned in a particular direction even in the absence of external magnetic field. Okay, now the magnitude of that spontaneous magnetization of the specimen as a whole will be equal to the vector sum of magnetic moments of individual domains. Okay, so hope the meaning is clear. Then, now spontaneous magnetization of each domain. Why is it due to? It is due to presence of an exchange field BE, which produce a parallel alignment of atomic dipoles. Now, as I already said, each domain is having a spontaneous magnetization, and the reason for that is the presence of an exchange interaction between magnetic ions, or a presence of an exchange field which is responsible to produce a parallel alignment of atomic dipoles. Now, this exchange field BE is proportional to magnetization M of each domain and is given by BE is equal to lambda M. Lambda is a constant called Weiss field constant and is independent of temperature. Now, this field BE is also called molecular field or Weiss field. Okay, and it is strong when compared to the applied field B. Okay, now see, effective magnetic field acting on an atom or ion is given by B effective, B this one, and it is equal to B plus B, that is the applied magnetic field plus the exchange field. It is again equal to B plus lambda m. Okay, so expression for B effective is nothing but B plus lambda m. Now we will discuss about exchange integral in detail. This is just theory we will read through. Wies theory of ferromagnetism is based on the concept of ferromagnetic domains which are spontaneously magnetized due to the presence of internal molecular field called Wies field or exchange field B. Just repetition of what we have already discussed in the last slide. Now, the theory does not explain the origin and nature of this field, and it is said that Wies field is not simply due to magnetic dipole-dipole interaction between neighboring dipoles. Okay, whereas uh, the Wies field, it is said that Wies field or the exchange field is not due to magnetic dipole-dipole interaction or the interaction between neighboring dipoles. That is not the reason for the presence of Wies field. That is the magnetic dipole-dipole interaction between neighboring dipole is not the reason for the presence of Wies field. Okay, here they have given an example for Wies field of iron as 10 raised to 7 Gauss. And then what is the reason for Wies field? That is, in 1928, Heisenberg, he proposed that Wies field is a consequence of quantum mechanical exchange interaction between atoms. That, and it is not, Wies field is not due to magnetic dipole-dipole interaction. Instead, it is because of quantum mechanical exchange interaction between atoms. And that concept was proposed by Heisenberg in 1928. And this interaction arises from Pauli's exclusion principle, which you know, according to which any change in relative orientation of two spins will disturb spatial distribution of charge, and this in turn will produce interaction between the two atoms. So the main reason for the origin of Wies field or exchange field is the Pauli's exclusion principle. That is, whenever there is a change in the relative orientation of two spins, then that will disturb the spatial distribution of charge. That will in turn will produce interaction between two atoms. Once the atoms interact between each other, they will give rise to exchange interaction or exchange interaction between magnetic ions, and that exchange interaction between the atoms is the reason for the origin of exchange field or Wies field. Okay. Now, the strength of exchange interaction between adjacent atoms depends on two factors. One is on the extent of overlap of their wave function, and the other one is on the relative orientation of electron spin. Okay, now please do remember that this exchange interaction is electrostatic. Okay, it is not a magnetic type of interaction, it is an electrostatic type of interaction. Okay, now an expression for exchange energy between two atoms is given by Uij. Uij stands for exchange energy, and I stands for ith atom and J stands for jth atom. So Uij will be the exchange energy. Okay, and that expression for exchange energy between two atoms I and J is given by Uij equal to minus 2 Je Si dot Sj. Here Si and Sj represent the spin of two atoms. J is the exchange integral, and it is supposed to be the same for any pair of atoms. Now the value of J, that is the value of exchange integral, depends on overlap of charge distribution of two atoms. That is, in simple words, the value of exchange integral depends on interatomic distance. Okay, now if this, how in exchange integral depends on interatomic distance, let us see that. If interatomic distance is large, then the exchange integral J will be positive. Okay, now if J is positive, then that implies parallel alignment of spins. Parallel arrangement means lower energy, and hence stability will be high. Okay, so when interatomic distance is large, J will be positive. When J is positive, that implies parallel arrangement of spins. If the spins are arranged parallelly, then energy will be low and stability will be high. Now it will be just the reverse if interatomic distance is small. If interatomic distance is small, exchange integral will be negative, then that imply anti-parallel arrangement of spins, then which in turn will imply higher energy and less stability. So we can conclude that negative value of J does not favor magnetism. Now this equation 2 is also called as Heisenberg model of exchange energy. Okay, so I will brief once again. Value of this exchange integral Je depends on interatomic distance. If interatomic distance is large, then Je will be positive. If J is positive, that means parallel arrangement of spins. If spins are arranged parallelly, then energy will be low, stability will be high, and it will favor magnetism. Now, on the other hand, if interatomic distance is small, then exchange integral J will be negative. Then that will imply anti-parallel arrangement of spins, which in turn will imply high energy, less stability, and it will not favor magnetism. So all these points you have to include when you are asked to write about exchange integral. Okay. Now this slide I have given you just for your reference. No need of including your this particular matter when you are asked to write about exchange integral for your exams. Okay, this you just go through this particular slide. I have given this just as an example. Okay, no need of mentioning this. You can skip this. Again, we are going to the expression for exchange field. We are going to look at that, and also the relationship between exchange integral and susceptibility, and all those expressions can be derived by following the procedure such suggested by Stoner. Now suppose that the exchange integral J is constant for all the neighboring pairs, and consider the contributions only from the nearest neighbors. Then the exchange energy of the ith atom can be written as Ui equal to minus 2 Je sigma j Si dot Sj, equation 3. Here summation is over the nearest neighbors of the ith atom. Then Stoner, he replaced the instantaneous value of neighboring spins by their time averages. So for Z nearest neighbors, our equation number 3 can be written as Ui equal to minus 2 Zj. It is kept as such. This particular term is replaced with this one, that is Sxi, then average of Sxj plus Syi average of Syj plus Szy average of Zj. Okay, now for magnetization M along Z axis, if we are concerned about Z axis, then these terms will become 0. Okay, Sxj term and Syj term will become 0, and you will be having only average value of Szj, because we are considering only Z axis, and its expression is given by M by G mu B N. Okay, now therefore Ui, that is exchange energy term of the ith atom, can be written as minus 2 Zj Szi by Gn mu B. It may be written as Ui is equal to minus G Szj mu B B. Here you have introduced a term B, which is nothing but this one. We have replaced some of the terms here with BE, that is this term. So we have reduced this expression to this. Okay, equation 4. And now that particular factor, this one, is a constant and is represented by lambda. Okay, this one. So equation 4 will become B equal to lambda m, which is the same as our equation 1. Okay, so for today this is enough. Thank you.